Can you please keep quiet?
Can you please be quiet yourself?
Hey, en julle suits. Nee, julle het vir ons mense neergedruk. En nou staan die mense op saam met MKP. Nou staan die mense op. Ons as kleurige mense staan op. Ons as swart mense staan op. Ons as Khoisan mense staan op. Ons as Zulus en Xhosas, ons staan saam met MKP. En ons sê genoeg is genoeg. Nie meer nie. Nie meer nie.
This bill is a betrayal of the working class and we reject it as such.
Order, honourable members. Please proceed, honourable member.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, honourable members. I greet you all in the name of my Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. And I greet you in the name and in the language of the Khoisan people, the First Nation Aboriginal people of South Africa, Kaitses. The Umkhonto we Party rises to reject the Division of Revenue Bill in its current form. This bill is not a tool of economic justice. It is a weapon of elite patronage. Austerity is dressed up in fine language, but the people still go hungry. Rural schools still crumble. Clinics still turn away patients. Vacancies remain, and our ancestral land still lies in the hands of a few. We are told we are being fiscally responsible by this government, but what does that mean when 426.3 billion rand, the second largest item after education, is now consumed by debt service costs? This grows to 477.5 billion by 2027 at 7.4%. Outpacing social spending, growing only at 4.9%. Our debt to GDP ratio is 77.4%, higher than most African countries, and we are borrowing just to pay interest. This indeed is economic insanity. We are a sovereign nation that owns platinum and PMGs, the most in the world. We own iron ore, oil, gas, coal, and mineral-rich land, but we behave like beggars. Our people live in poverty. Why? Because this GNU, this ANC, and this Division of Revenue budget wants to keep the status quo for the people who are beneficiaries of apartheid. They are beneficiaries of colonialism, and they are still in power today through the ANC, through the DA, in this GNU. Honorable Mayimani wants to talk about investment, but how can you talk investment without land justice? We first got to deal with land justice. We first got to take the land back. We first got to take the resources back. We got to beneficiate it, and then we can talk about investment, Mr. Chair. The DA came up here and was talking nonsense to our people. When we look at the city of Cape Town, I'm a Cape Townian. This is the worst run province. This is the worst run city. If you are a colored person, if you are a black person, this is the worst run place. You talk about clean audits. What about poverty? What about housing? Where's the jobs for our people? Where's the electricity for our people? You let niks vir ons mense gemaak hier. You evict our people every day on the Cape Flats. You throw our people out of houses to make way for developers, for white developers who come in here and take our people's land, take our people's houses, and our people get stuck on the ground, on the land. We want to say, the ANC, you've moved away from the Freedom Charter. Why are you talking about the Freedom Charter? You in business and you in government with our oppressors. You are in government with the very people who took our land, who took our minerals, who took our resources and leave our people in poverty every day. You are no longer fighting for the liberation. You are fighting for the oppression of our people. We look at the municipalities are collapsing in this country. 163 of 257 municipalities are financially distressed. And let me say, most of them are run by the ANC, the DA, and its coalition partners. Yet municipal allocations grow only by 3.4%, below the projected inflation of 5.5%. 78 billion is owed to Eskom, yet no structural intervention exists in this budget, Mr. Chair. Instead of empowering local development, this bill empowers DBSA consultants and urban pilot projects with no local oversight. Mr. Chair, there's so many ghost workers. They cost us between 5 and 25 billion annually. They can go for housing. They can go for our clinics. They can save our people. But no, we are using it on consultants and we're giving it on ghost workers. So corruption is something that's endemic in the GNU. It's something that's been going on for 30 years. Julle kan nie hier kom en julle self wit smee nie. Julle is swart met julle gemors, met julle wat julle ons mense se lewens weggevat het. Julle ons mense se land weggevat. Julle ons mense vermoor. Maar nou wil jy hier kom en julle wil vir ons sê julle is mooi en julle soets. Nee, julle het vir ons mense neergedruk en nou staan die mense op saam met MKP. Nou staan die mense op. Ons as kleurling mense staan op. Ons as swart mense staan op. Ons as Khoisan mense staan op. Ons as Zulus en Xhosas, ons staan saam met MKP en ons sê genoeg is genoeg. Nie meer nie. Nie meer nie. Honorable Chair, I want to say in closing, this is our land. These are our minerals. This is our people. Africa exports 100 billion rand annually in raw minerals. South Africa alone holds over 2.5 trillion rand in rare earth minerals and gas. Yet we borrow from the IMF. This is insanity. We need to nationalize our strategic minerals. We need state-led beneficiation and a new land and mineral revenue model rooted in justice, not debt. Ambase, we are going to take things over. We are going to change things, and we're going to take
Honourable
our
Member,
people
your time
out
is
of
now
poverty.
expired.
SMK.
Thank you.
Ambase!
Thank you. Order, honourable members. I now recognize the Honourable Galeka.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Let me begin by greeting the Commander-in-Chief and President of the Economic Freedom Fighters and all members of Parliament of the EFF. Speaker, allow me to first express my condolences to the families of the EFF's June 16 battalion, which passed away tragically in Vryheid following our commemorations of June 16. To fighters Bonga Konge Mate, fighter Ntombi Ndlovu, fighter Lungani Sunday Mbata, Phumlani Zulu, fighter Thokozani Mashazi, Ayanda Khumalo, Kwalisile Sibisi, fighter Manqele Siboniso, fighter Tutukani Dube, fighter Siyanda Thwala, we say rest in revolutionary peace as you died on the picket lines. Let me also express my appreciation and commendation of the President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, for developing the testicular fortitude to remove the Deputy Minister of the DA, who was ineffective and incompetent. And long may these removals continue. Speaker, so the Money Bills Act stipulates that the Division of Revenue Bill must be in line with fiscal framework. And we have long labored as the EFF that the budget process has been characterized by deceit. And this deceit is twofold. This is deceptive consultations that made an impression that there will be alternative revenue generation mechanisms which will be included in the budget, and we do not see them anywhere today. Furthermore, deceptions in terms of three ring-fenced options of austerity, borrowing, and strategic tax adjustments, which were the rationale for the generation mechanisms in the first version of this budget. The minister has now implemented all three of these things: austerity through numerical cuts and below inflation allocations to all departments. He has now implemented borrowing through a 1.5 billion loan from the World Bank, and he has also implemented tax adjustments through the fuel levy. Now, as the EFF, we have now introduced the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, which will restrict reckless and irresponsible borrowing from financial institutions globally, because there must be an authority of parliament that guides all loans which are conducted. House Chairperson, the EFF rejects the 2025 Division of Revenue Bill as proposed by the Minister of Finance and agreed to by the Democratic Alliance, Action SA, Rise Mzansi, and BOSA, led by Honorable Maimane, who is also the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Appropriations, because that committee has failed to fulfill its constitutional mandate. Before we deal with the contents of the bill, let us remind the people of South Africa of what took place not so long ago. When we were processing the Division of Revenue Bill that had to be withdrawn because the Minister of Finance lost the VAT court case, the committee had resolved to amend the bill, and Honorable Maimane will remember this. We had agreed that more than half of the 257 municipalities are in financial distress, with 20% of them not financially viable at all. That means they're unable to meet even the most basic obligations required to deliver services. We had agreed that for far too long, the assumption that municipalities will collect sufficient revenue to fund service delivery is false and not sustainable. The majority of our people are unemployed. The economy is stagnant, racial inequality continues to deepen, and we have more than 12 million people without work, 12 million people with no ability to pay for services even if they wanted to. We had also agreed that the growing number of indigent households, many of whom are not even registered for indigent support, deserve automatic and unconditional access to free water, free sanitation, and free electricity. We also questioned why the National Treasury has reduced indirect grants to municipalities, why allocate only 61 billion in direct and indirect infrastructure grants, when studies and reality show that municipalities need over 122 billion. More importantly, we had agreed that there is merit in the SALGA study, which demonstrates that the deliberate underfunded mandates across all categories of municipalities are reckless and irresponsible. We had a consensus, we had a plan, we even agreed on a way forward to amend the bill and increase allocations to municipalities that are collapsing in front of our eyes. As the EFF, we made written and oral submissions to the committee. We participated in what we believe to be genuine democratic processes that would reflect the will of the people. We propose that allocations to municipalities should increase from 9.5% to 14%. This would increase the local government share by 88.4 billion. We were specific about where the money should come from. We propose funds must be reallocated from non-essential expenditure such as ministerial imbizos, provincial events, excessive travel, catering, inflated consultancy fees, and the corrupt tender system that has become a source of looting. We emphasize that education and health must not be touched. These are essential services, services that serve the poor and the working class who cannot afford private schools or private hospitals. The committee resolved that the proposals should be assessed by the Parliamentary Budget Office so that an objective analysis could guide decision-making. Honorable Maimane, the chairperson of this committee himself, proposed that we consider SALGA's model of equitable share split. We welcomed this proposal. It was a moment of political maturity and collective commitment to finding common ground. We had an opportunity to make a difference, to amend the bill and give our people water, sanitation, roads, refuse collection, and dignity. We had an opportunity to end sewage leakages in Diepsloot, in Alexandra, in Nyanga, in Kayamnandi, where the Democratic Alliance governs, in Umlazi, in Tembisa, in Orange Farm, in Soweto. But all of that was ignored just because the so-called government of national unity had already agreed to maintain the status quo, even though it was not working. Parliament has thus been reduced to a rubber stamping exercise. We are now presented with a bill that offers no solution to the fundamental challenges of local government. It is a copy and paste of failures. The equitable share formula has remained rigid, outdated, and fails to respond to the current needs of our people. It continues to favor historically advantaged municipalities and ignores those deliberately underdeveloped by apartheid and neglected by democracy. There's no urgency in this bill, no emergency plan to intervene in dysfunctional municipalities, no special allocation for collapsing rural towns where raw sewage flows into rivers, where people walk for kilometers to collect water from a borehole shared with livestock. There's no consideration of youth of this country, young people who could be employed through municipal programs. This bill is a betrayal of the working class, and we reject it as such. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Hatebe.
Honorable members, Madam Speaker, as we observe the Youth Month and reflect on the sacrifices of the youth of 1976, let us remember that the right to basic education is a fundamental right that is recognized in Section 26 of the Bill of Rights. This is an absolute, non-derogable right that may not be qualified or infringed, even at the state of emergency. Ironically, Section 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights recognizes as basic human right the right to basic education, declares that education shall be free at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Parliament has enacted the Bella Act, which provides, in line with the Constitution, that all children in South Africa have a right to access basic education. The Bella Act goes further by making Grade R compulsory. The GNU budget and the Division of Revenue Bill that is being considered today fails to allocate funds to make it possible for all children of South Africa to attend Grade R. The failure to make this financial allocation will hit the hardest those children who are born in poverty. The face of poverty is a permanent feature in South Africa, in South African landscape. In a country where the reality is that race is still the fundamental determinant of class, the face of poverty has color, and the face of poverty is black. And so we urge, Madam Speaker, that the failure of the budget of making the grade R compulsory is a denial of black children and of basic education, of black children a right to basic education. It is a violation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is a violation of Section 26 of the Constitution. It violates our law in a form of Bella Act. It is an abomination, Madam Speaker. It is equivalent to spitting on the graves of the gallant generation of young people of 1976 who sacrificed their lives for the education of a black child in South Africa. For the sake of children, and for this reason alone, this division of revenue bill and the entire budget must be rejected. There are certain features of the budget and the division of revenue bill that ought to be rejected by those who have conscience in this house. These features are as follows. The National Treasury has made additional allocation outside of the provincial equitable share formula without justification for its determination. These allocations are made to some provinces and not to others. And this undermines the certainty of the provincial equitable share formula, and it is a mockery of the intergovernmental fiscal relation. The SRD grant, Madam Speaker, will end in 2025-2026. There is no strategy to deal with the increasing number of municipalities who have faced with financial distress, including eJozini, abantu abaholile izolo. The replacement of VAT by fuel levy is a replacement of like for a like. Both are regressive, they deepen the consumption spending and are anti-poor and anti-growth. The National Treasury should consider more progressive tax measures. The statistics on proposition of household below affordability threshold in each municipality continues to be based on 2011 census, and this is unacceptable. Kubantu bakithi South Africa angisho lokhu sengivala. Kulandela ukuthi sizame konke ukuvezela lo hulumeni ukuthi kupho ongakwenza okungcono. Kwala ukuthi ke useyinhlelweni eziningi zokucindezela abantu bakithi. Sinamhlanje sikubudget number 3 ngenxa yalo hulumeni ongenawo amadlebe okulalela ngisho ama suggestion azokwenza izwe liye phambili. Kodwa ke sesibukushiya kubantu bakithi ukuthi uma sekuyokhethweni bazi ukuthi lo hulumeni wenza konke okusemandleni ukubacindezela. Ngiyabonga Speaker.
Order, Honorable Wycliffe.
Thank you, Chairperson. Revolutionary greetings to the Commander-in-Chief and President of the EFF, Julius Selo Malema, Commissars, Grand Forces, and fellow South Africans. Chair, can you please keep quiet? House Chair.
Honorable members, I have requested that can we please give an opportunity to an honorable member on the podium so that we are able to hear one another. Now, your howling and shouting makes it difficult to hear a member on the podium.
People
Please
are dying on
continue.
a daily basis and you got time to play. House Chair, today we mark the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking under the theme, Breaking the Chains, Prevention, Treatment and Recovery of All. I rise not mere to debate, but to echo the voice of the deep heartbreak behind the alarming statistics, the broken families, the agony of many mothers crying through the night as their children battle addiction and unable to find help. This is also a cry for many fathers who wait in pain, praying their sons to return home, but they vanish into the streets, swallowed by the system that fails to offer a way out. House Chair, this pain is not abstract, it is real, it is raw, it is rising in every corner of our beloved country. It is a pain of deep loss and despair. It's superseded amongst other things by the fact that in South Africa, only 118 out of 257 municipalities have established local drug action committees, like DAC, as required by the Prevention and of Treatment of Substance Abuse Act Act of 70 of 2008. That is a mere 46% compliance rate. What this simply means is that more than half of our municipalities where addiction is most visible and deadly have not localized response structures to coordinate prevention, treatment, and recovery. Worse still, the country suffers from weak provincial oversight, leaving many affected communities vulnerable, neglected, and abandoned as a crisis spiral out of control. As we deliberate on this matter, House Chair, South Africa is now amongst the world's largest meth markets, and its consequences are deadly. 60 to 80% of violent crime linked to substance abuse, feeding gang violence, gender-based violence, and tearing communities apart. This is not a new problem. It has been rising continuously over years. If we as legislators do not act decisively amongst the scourge of substance abuse now, we will have surrendered our country to the deepest abyss of carelessness, despair, agony, perpetuity, where we have failed our duty to protect the future of those who will come after us. We will have betrayed the struggles of those who came before us. And if we lose this fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking, then the lives of many who died resisting the scourge will have died in vain. There's another tragedy too often overlooked, the lack of state-funded rehabilitation centers. In Gauteng alone, more than half of state rehab beds has been defunded. 246 out of 571 bed lost this year, threatening vital non-profit centers with closures. Nationally, only 8 public inpatient treatment centers exist, covering just 6 provinces. Meanwhile, private rehabs is exorbitantly expensive, ranging from 3,500 to 50,000 for a 30-day stay, up to 150,000 for longer treatment. For most South Africans, especially low-income families, this is simply impossible. They depend on state or NGO services, which is underfunded, uneven, and overwhelmed. The health impacts, chronic illness, mental collapse, road deaths are immense. Economically, we lose approximately 20 billion annually in lost productivity and healthcare costs. And those who suffer the most are the poor and the vulnerable. We must act now. As the debate of Revenue Bill B15/2025, I propose these critical interventions. Increase funding for LADACs. Allocate those resources to establish LADACs in all 257 municipalities, with provincial departments accountable and compliance and support. Expand state fund rehabs. Reverse the loss of state fund beds. Create adequately resourced public funded rehabilitation centers in every province and ensure access to those who can't afford it care. Community-based programs, embedded prevention and treatment locally through virtual caucuses, peer support, awareness campaigns, reducing stigma and bringing help closer to those in need. Introduce a specialized police unit to stop the supply of illegal drugs. Strengthening provincial roles. The last page is gone, but I will speak from the heart. Chairperson, the problem, we can all laugh about this. I just put it misplaced.
Honorable members,
Chairperson,
let's just give a member the last
Chairperson,
30 seconds left, please.
we can laugh as much as we like, but on a daily basis, that is my last page, mothers are crying. Children are walking the street looking for food because the mother and the father is not there to take care of them. Mothers and fathers are killing their children, sitting in prisons because they couldn't take the abuse anymore. The abuse that these parents are going through on a daily basis because of drug abuse and children that is addicts, it is too much. It's either we as Parliament come up with a strategic position on what are we going to do to alleviate the problem that we have. The gang violence in Western Cape is not gang violence, it is drug violence, it is happening in Western Cape. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Honorable Macri.